Good morning all. I am Bharat L, Assistant Professor from Department of Mechanical Engineering, and I am handling elements of mechanical engineering for second semester. And today I am going to discuss about the module number 3 from elements of mechanical engineering. Today we'll start with session number 1, and this session is part of LMS, which is introduced by the Department of Collegiate and Technical Education. So this is the table of content for the session number 1, which includes the introduction part and classification, engine components, and two-stroke petrol and four-stroke petrol engines. Coming to introduction, first we will try to understand about the engine and heat engine. Later we will discuss about the classification of heat engine. So engine is nothing but a device which converts one form of energy into another form. Similarly, heat engine, first it converts the chemical energy of the fuel into thermal energy, then it converts thermal energy into useful work. This is about heat engine. Coming to classification of heat engine, so heat engines are classified into two categories. That is, first one is external combustion engine and second one is internal combustion engine. So external combustion engine means the process of combustion takes place outside the engine cylinder. So example for external combustion engine is a steam engine, and whereas in internal combustion engine, the combustion process will take place inside the engine cylinder. So the working media or working fluid in the internal combustion engine is petrol, diesel and other gases. So in module number 3, we are going to discuss about only internal combustion engine. We are going to discuss about only internal combustion engine in the module number 3. So coming to classification of IC engines, generally the classification depends on many parameters, out of which the first classification is depends on the type of fuel used. So based on the fuel, we have petrol engine, diesel engine, and third one is gas engine. Then second classification is depends on the number of strokes per cycle, that is four-stroke engine and two-stroke engine. Similarly, classification depends on the cycle of operation. So we have here Otto cycle engine, diesel cycle engine and dual cycle engine. Next classification is depend on the method of igniting the fuel. So based on this type, so we have two types, that is spark ignition engine and compression ignition engine, that is CI engine. Then next classification is depends on the number of cylinders. So based on the number of cylinders, the engines are classified into two types, that is single cylinder engine and multi-cylinder engine. And last classification is depends on the type of cooling. So based on the type of cooling, we have air cooling engine and water cooling engine. So this is about the classification of IC engines. So coming to important parts or components of IC engine, the figure number 1.1 shows the important components in the schematic. Okay, here I have listed some components, that is cylinder, cylinder head, spark plug or fuel injector, inlet valve, exhaust valve, piston, piston rings, connecting rod, crank and crankcase. So now we'll try to understand the importance of each component. Okay, first one is cylinder. So this portion is the cylinder. So inside is the piston reciprocating to and fro motion, and it is made up of cast iron and steel alloys. Okay, and cylinder head. So top end of the cylinder, this end. So top end of the cylinder is covered by the cylinder head. So we can observe here inlet valve. This is exhaust valve, and spark plug or fuel injector are mounted on the cylinder head. Okay. So third component is spark plug or fuel injector. Basically, this component is depend on the type of engine. Okay, if we are using SI engine, then the SI engine is fitted with the spark plug, and whereas CI engine is fitted with the fuel injector. So this is about spark plug and fuel injector. And coming to valves, here we have two valves. First one is inlet valve and second one is exhaust valve. Inlet valve allows the fresh air mixture into the cylinder, and exhaust valve, it emits the exhaust gas after the combustion process. This is about the valves. Then coming to piston, this is the piston. This portion is the piston. So normally piston, yeah, normally piston transfer the force exerted by the charges or fuel after burning to the crankshaft. So this is the crankshaft. This portion is the crankshaft. Next one is the piston rings. So normally the piston rings prevents the leakage of oil into the cylinder as well as the gas, combustion gas into the cylinder. So this is the importance of the piston ring. Next component is connecting rod. So this is the connecting rod, this portion. It's fitted in between the piston and crankshaft. Okay. And the importance of the importance of connecting rod is to transfer the power of combustion to the crankshaft. So it transfers the power of combustion to the crankshaft. Then next component is crankshaft. So crankshaft basically it converts the reciprocating motion of the piston to the rotary. Then final last component is crankcase. Okay, so this portion, this is the crankcase. Okay, crankcase serves as a sump for the lubricating system or lubricating oil, and also as a cylinder and connecting rod and crankshaft. Okay, these are the things housed in the crankcase. So this is about the important components of the IC engines. So coming to next slide. So here you can see different terminologies which are used in the IC engines with schematic as well as in the PV diagram. So here I have listed some important terms, that is cylinder bore, piston area, stroke, then dead center, then displacement volume or swept volume, clearance volume, and last one is cylinder volume. So we'll try to understand one by one. First, we'll take cylinder bore. That term, right? Cylinder bore means it's the inner dia of the cylinder. So it is denoted by D. And next one is the piston area. So this is the piston, and piston area, piston is basically, it's a circular. So the surface area is calculated by the simple relation, that is A equals to pi d square by 4. And if you want to calculate the total area covered by the piston, then you need to multiply the area into this distance. Okay. Then third term is stroke, stroke length. So stroke length means the piston travel distance. Okay. The travel distance is nothing but stroke length, piston travel distance. Then fourth one is dead center. So dead center means the farthest or nearest position of the piston with respect to the crankshaft. So based on that, we have two dead center. One is bottom dead center and another one is top dead center. So here you can see this one is bottom dead center and this is top dead center. Bottom dead center means bottommost position of the piston, and TDC, top dead center means topmost position of the piston in the cylinder. So this is about BDC and TDC. Then coming to displacement volume or swept volume, right? This term swept volume. So swept volume means the volume covered by the piston during one stroke. That volume is called as swept volume. Then next term is clearance volume. See here we can see the clearance volume. So in PV diagram also you can see the clearance volume. Okay, this is the clearance volume. So clearance volume means it's the volume between the cylinder head and the piston when the piston is at TDC. So when this piston should be at TDC. So this difference is known as clearance volume. Okay. Then cylinder volume. Last component is cylinder volume. So this is the cylinder volume or total volume of the cylinder. So this is about the different terms which we are using in the IC engines. Okay. Next. So two-stroke petrol engine. So based on the classification as we discussed in the earlier slides. So classification based on the strokes. Based on the strokes, we have two types of engine, that is two-stroke engine and four-stroke engine. First, we will try to discuss about a two-stroke petrol engine. Okay, so two-stroke petrol engine, the cycle of operation is completed in two stroke of the piston and one revolution of the crankshaft. Okay, this is about two-stroke petrol engine. And component wise, we already discussed about the component. The only difference is ports. Okay, in four-stroke engine we have valves, whereas in two-stroke engines instead of valves we have ports. So this is the inlet port, this is transfer port, and this is exhaust port. Okay, this is about the components of the two-stroke petrol engine. So next we'll try to understand the different strokes. Okay, so here we have two strokes, that is upward stroke and downward stroke. So first we'll try to understand about the upward stroke. So in upward stroke, the piston moves from BDC to TDC, I mean from here to here. So after moving BDC to TDC, it compresses the charges, okay, here in the combustion chamber. So after moving BDC to TDC, the piston, so here the vacuum is created in the crankcase. So at the same time, the fresh air enters into the crankcase. Okay. So and valve arrangement during this stroke, the inlet port is open, and the transfer port and the exhaust port both are covered. Okay, and the ignition of the fresh charges takes place at the end of this stroke. Then coming to second stroke, that is downward stroke. As soon as the combustion of the fresh charges takes place, a large amount of the gases is produced, and which exerts a very high pressure on the cylinder head here. So this is the cylinder head. Here we are experiencing the high pressure force on the piston. Okay, due to this high pressure, the piston moves downward and rotates the crankshaft. It will move from BDC to TDC. TDC to BDC, it will move downward, and due to this, rotates the crankshaft and does some useful work. And coming to the port position, so here the inlet port is closed, and both transfer port and the exhaust ports, both ports are open. Okay, when the piston moves from TDC to BDC, right? So the combustion charges moves from or transferred through the transfer port from crankcase to the combustion chamber. So this is about the downward stroke. So next we will try to understand about the four-stroke petrol engine. So figure number 1.4 shows the different stroke of petrol engine. Normally here we have four strokes. I mean the cycle of operation of four-stroke petrol engine is completed in 4 strokes of the piston and 2 revolution of the crankshaft. Okay, and the strokes are suction stroke, compression stroke, expansion, and exhaust stroke. Okay, so first we'll try to understand the suction stroke. Okay, component wise, all component remain same here except the valve. Okay, so in four-stroke engine, as we discussed earlier, here we are having valves. This is inlet valve and exhaust valve. Okay, in case of two-stroke engine, instead of valves, we had 3 different ports. Okay, so first we'll take suction stroke, first stroke. Okay, so at the beginning of this stroke, the piston is at TDC. Okay, during this stroke, the piston moves from TDC to BDC, and the valves, with respect to valves, inlet valve is open and exhaust valve is closed. Okay, when the piston moves to the BDC or when the piston reaches to the BDC, then the suction stroke is completed. Okay, then second stroke, that is compression stroke. So this diagram, second diagram, it shows the compression stroke. So here at the beginning of this stroke, this piston will be at the BDC. Okay, during this stroke, the piston moves from second. Yeah. So at the beginning of this stroke, I mean in the compression stroke, the piston at the BDC position. During this stroke, the piston moves from BDC to TDC, from bottom to top. Okay. At the same time, the charges are compressed here. Okay. And with respect to valves, both the valves are closed in the compression stroke. I mean inlet valve and exhaust valve. Both valves are closed. And when the piston reaches the TDC, then the compression stroke is completed. Okay. After completing the or at the end of the compression stroke, the spark plug initiate the combustion process. Okay. That thing we will discuss in the working stroke. Okay. So in the working stroke, at the beginning of the working stroke, the piston remains at the TDC only. During this stroke, the piston moves from TDC to BDC. So due to this expansion, okay, more power or high power is developed, and that power is utilized to do some useful work. And regarding the valves, here also the both valve, inlet valve and exhaust valve, both valves are closed. And when the piston reaches to BDC, then the working stroke is completed. Okay. Then last stroke is exhaust stroke. So in this stroke, at the beginning of this stroke, the piston remains at the BDC only. During this stroke, it travels from BDC to TDC. I mean, it moves from BDC to TDC. And regarding valves, here the inlet valve is closed and exhaust valve is open. So when the piston moves from BDC to TDC, the gases after the combustion, right, the exhaust gases will move to the atmosphere through the exhaust valve. So this is about the exhaust stroke. Okay. So this is about 4-stroke petrol engine. So now we'll try to discuss some 4 to 5 multiple choice questions based on the session number 1. Okay. The first question is, which of the following is SI engine? Okay. So here the options are gas engine, diesel engine, petrol engine, and locomotive engine. But the right answer is answer C, that is petrol engine. SI engine means spark ignition engine. So in the SI engine, okay, we are using spark plug to generate or to initiate the combustion process. Then second question, which of the following is not an internal combustion engine? So options are 2-stroke petrol engine, 4-stroke petrol engine, diesel engine, and steam engine. Right? Regarding this, we already discussed in the previous slides, and the right answer is steam engine, because in steam engine, the combustion process will take place outside the cylinder, engine cylinder. Okay, that's why the right answer is steam engine. And third question, the term bore in IC engine defines. Okay, these things we discussed in the terminologies of IC engines. Okay, and the options are internal diameter of the engine cylinder, external diameter of the engine cylinder, diameter of the piston, and diameter of the crankshaft. But the right answer is A. So bore is nothing but internal diameter of the engine cylinder. And fourth question, the working cycle in case of 4-stroke engine is completed in the following number of revolution of crankshaft. I mean the cycle of operation with respect to the 4-stroke engine. So here the options are 1, 3, 2, 4. But the right answer is 2. Okay. So here you can see, right, the 4-stroke engine, and is talking about crankshaft revolution. So in 4-stroke, we have 4 piston strokes, different strokes, and 2 crankshaft revolution. Whereas in 2-stroke engine, the number of stroke is 2, and the crankshaft revolution, the revolution is 1. And question number 5, in diesel engine, the fuel is ignited by, the options are fuel injection, spark plug, battery ignition, and heat of compressed air. So here is talking about diesel engine. So in diesel engine, we are not using any spark plug. We are using only fuel injector to inject the fuel. So the right answer is D. So it is ignited by the heat of the compressed air. So this is about the multiple choice question. Okay, and coming to this slide. So here I have mentioned some frequently asked questions, 3 questions. First question is with respect to PV diagram of 4-stroke petrol engine. Second question is related to 2-stroke petrol engine. And third question is main components of the IC engines. And this is the outcome of the session 1. At the end of this session, the student should be able to answer the following things. First one is classification, second one terminologies, then 4-stroke, 2-stroke petrol engines. Okay, so these are the references. With this, I will wind up this session, and next we'll meet in session number 2. Thank you.